Hello, Madam Danita Abiola. How are you down in Austin, Texas? I would like to welcome you to my studio here at the Kidodi Podcast live from Bellevue, Washington. Uh, it is my pleasure and profound delighted to welcome to my podcast, Kidodi Podcast. Please welcome, Madam.
Thank you.
And today we are going to talk about, first of all, I would love to get your background and then who you are and what you're doing currently in Austin, Texas. Your life background, and then we are going to discuss issue related to autism. Please welcome, Madam.
Yes, once again, I am Danita Abiola. I am New Orleans, Louisiana native. I have an extensive background in social work. I've been a social worker for several years, 7 years at this point. And with that being said, I absolutely love what I do. It was the social work field that brought exposure to me of my son being possibly on the autism spectrum. So with that being said, I absolutely love people and I'm super grateful to be on your show. I work with various different populations and working with intellectual developmental disabilities is one of really my, I hate to call it most favorable, but I love it. So thank you once again for having me as your first, I guess, English speaker. I know you usually have people that speak Kiswahili.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Danita Abiola. It's also my pleasure to hear from you, your background and your experience into your lifetime. And to beginning with today, I would like to hear from you. How do you understand autism? What's the definition of autism to you in your life? As a mother yourself currently, and you are raising a child with autism. Just give me a brief. How do you understanding about autism?
Yes, autism is basically an individual who has behavior concerns and also they lack social interaction. So as a mother, I see my toddler pretty much every day. Of course, he loves mommy. I give him the most love ever. However, he when he's around other kiddos, he definitely can use more socializing skills.
Okay, thank you. Actually, that for your insight information about how you understanding about autism. As a mother of the child, that you are undertaking the responsibility of taking care of the child of the autism. Let me ask you, when did your child was diagnosed with the autism, and what kind of reaction after you hear that your child has autism?
Yes, sir. I pretty much took action before he had an official diagnosis. He was officially diagnosed this year when he made three. In March, he made three in February. However, I was able to seek early intervention for him sooner. And once again, my baby boy, he's in a room, but that's a part of it. But yes, so I was taking steps before I even heard it officially from his pediatrician. I saw things as a mother, and even though the pediatrician was reassuring that things were going accordingly. She wasn't with him on a day-to-day basis. So shortly after he made I think, two, because he received the official diagnosis at three. I went back to the pediatrician and she took a little screening and she was going to refer him to a specialist, but I was already ahead of the game of looking up things in Austin, Texas to serve him.
Since you find out and your child was diagnosed with the autism, in what age your child was diagnosed with the autism?
Yes, sir. He was diagnosed this year at age 3 years old.
Okay, and how your reaction when you find out your child has an autism? Did you find out that is a very
Well,
unusual circumstances in your life, and how you reacted?
mm-hmm. I'm glad that you asked. Honestly, I was already ahead of the game. So I think what helped me feel a bit better was the fact that I was already being proactive, doing the research. So when I actually got an official diagnosis, that was just a name to have because I realized my baby boy, he's very brilliant in his own ways in the way that he sees the world. So having that diagnosis, it didn't do like what it would do to some people. And no, everybody grieves or go through the process if they so choose. For me, I always had I saw the strength in it all. Like, okay, I'm his mother. This is what I see. He doesn't, even when he didn't have the official diagnosis, I had diagnosed him myself. Like, I know what I saw, but I was grateful to get the official diagnosis because people wait for many years to get the diagnosis. So at 3 years old, I'm grateful that he got it so early. And I'm so grateful. Yeah, I'm grateful for the doctor. I switched doctors and she sped up the process for me, which was amazing. So to answer your question, I felt no type of way. I was just still on a road of getting my baby boy the services that he needed.
Okay. Do you believe autism is a disease or behavior?
I do. I believe that autism is. I believe no, it's not a disease. It's not a disease. I do believe it can be, I guess, genetic and environmental. And due to Dr. Annie, she recommended a video to the support group, and I watched it. And according to Dr. Suzanne, it definitely could be behavioral and genetic, which I thought because overall during my pregnancy, I had a beautiful pregnancy by God's grace, a healthy baby boy, worked out, ate right, so I knew it had to be a myth about mothers not taking proper care of themselves. So I'm so grateful that the research aligns with what I felt at my core in general that yes, it possibly is genetics or environmental. And it comes, anyone, any walk of life could possibly get this thing called autism, right?
Okay, madam. Yeah, well, according to scientific research that has been conducted in since the autism was founded in Germany in 1910, and according to your responding, you said is a genetic. There was a controversial scientific research that has been conducted that autism is genetic, which comes from a man. Do you agree with the medical research that has been conducted that genetic of the autism come from the man, not the women?
I definitely cannot answer that. I'm not aware of that particular research, but I can research it and definitely consult doctors that are more specialists in that area. So thank you for even bringing that to my attention. That's something for me to research more. So yeah.
Okay, this is according to yeah, scientific research that was conducted. I understand you cannot answer that question. It may be some sort of personal issues to you, but uh, as far as I'm concerned, um, according to scientific research was conducted, that genetic issue of the autism, according to genes, is come from a man. It's not 100% correctly. Maybe yes, maybe no. Um, let moving on to another subject. Um, as a mother yourself, in your activity every day, how are you handling the situation of taking care of a child with autism in your daily basis as a single mother? Just give me a brief.
Yes, no problem. I'd say it's been a challenge, right? It's not easy having a little one, but nonetheless, because of my self care that I pour into myself before I even had a baby, that's what carries me on. And just being patient and educating myself with what autism is and seeing how my baby boy behaves and nurturing what's dear to him and how he sees his world. That makes it that much more a little bit easier, but it's not easy at all. But nonetheless, it works out, and I'm grateful to have the skills from my social work background, my self care background, and just my motherly instincts at my core to help me carry on this journey. And he's a beautiful baby boy. So
They're absolutely beautiful baby boy, and you are proud to be a mother with a beautiful baby boy. But unfortunately, you are undertaking huge risk or to care and secure the child with the autism or autistic in particularly. Um, Societies always understand a child with the autism or what we call is autism spectrum disorder should have a legal right to have a normal life. They cannot be discriminated, they cannot be manipulated or intimidations. Through your life at the moment as a mother, what kind of education you are providing for your child with autistic disorder?
Yes, sir. As a mother, raising a child on the spectrum, he definitely, I homeschool him best I can. And he also attends early intervention at school right up the street for 3 hours per day, which is pretty cool. He's learning, he's around kids to build up that social interaction. He knows so much for his age, and I'm grateful for that. So I'd say, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Regarding his schooling at the moment, he's only 3, so I guess as he continue to progress, I also make sure I keep proper rapport with his teacher, the school principal, even some parents. I try to ask about their experiences regarding the early intervention. So yes, it's been pretty cool at this tender age. I guess as he navigates, when he becomes more older, it'll get a bit more wild of a ride. But nonetheless, it's just my goal to make sure I'm educating myself and ensuring that his the people that he has an IEP with, the teacher, the principal, the speech therapy has been great for him at school, so that's a benefit. Ensuring that I'm keeping open communication. They know my name at his school. They know that I'm caring and I want what's best, and I definitely feel like he's in good hands, even though he attends only 3 hours per day.
All right. To continue to our program through my audience, you can subscribe our Kidori podcast and put your comment. Let me move on to another subject of the autism. Basically, with autism disorder, your child can be also engaged with the other child in the society. For example, with the family members or public or other areas where your child can be engaged with. Let me ask you, how do you react in case if someone trying to intimidate your child based on the autism in the public area or through your family?
Yes. Well, pretty much, to be honest, I haven't had that type of situation occur, but you best to believe I'll have his back in the event it starts with educating. And I don't surround myself with those type of individuals anyway. But if someone were to try to bully my baby boy or act weird, again, I'll use it as an educational moment. But I have not come across anything dealing with family members or anyone in the public. Honestly, I take him any and everywhere neurotypical people will do, because he deserves to explore his world just as much as any of us. So exposure is key. And yeah, he has not experienced any bullying, but I definitely know I'll take whatever I have to do to ensure that he's okay. And that's from this tender age and until he becomes a teenager and an adult. I'm gonna always have his back, for sure.
Okay, okay. You didn't experience any kind of bullying or intimidation since, yeah, either through your family. And what kind of reaction you receiving from your family while you have a child with autism? For example, extended family, how they react and how they feel about you taking care of a child with autism.
Well, as with most black people, they don't see, and I mean that because I can say that as a black person, they definitely have to come to grips of, oh, he's just being a boy, he's hyper, this and that. So because I'm educating some of the people around me, my close friends, they're very supportive, and I don't really talk to many family members don't know, but I'm willing to educate them as well. So I feel like most black people, it's just still hard to come across that a person has autism and you're gonna try to make excuses about he's just a boy or he don't need a diagnosis, things of that nature. So I didn't I didn't receive any receive any horrible feedback, but the little feedback that I did receive, it was like, oh, he's a boy, nothing wrong with him, something like that.
Okay, okay. Fine enough. In American society, in particularly here in America, we have a different gender, different ethnic background across entire spectrum of the life. When you go out, for example, with your child, and your child behave unusually, unusual circumstances, and people can react into your child, maybe discriminate your child, maybe feeling the other way, how your reaction is comes to you as a mother of the child with the autistics.
Yes, so pretty much he's usually always, well, not all the time, but at times if he don't have his way when we're in the store, he's definitely having a tantrum. And I guess I don't overthink it because even neurotypical kids have tantrums when they're out with their parents if they don't get like a lollipop or they don't get this or that. So I don't really feel myself being too, let me see, isolated. I just do what I need to do as a mother to keep him calm, give him hugs, tight hugs that he likes, talk him down, and I go about my business because I can't worry about too much of society because they're not actually taking care of him in the home with me. So I condition myself to know that if he acts out, have a behavior out in public, I'm going to do my best as a mother, but I can't focus on these people that I'll never ever see again. But however, say for instance, if he's in his music class that he attends and he's having a behavior, that's a close knit class. So I did at one point let the close knit class know my baby boy is, on the spectrum. Many may argue, you don't have to tell people he is. I'm forever for it. Yes, I will educate people because you're already going to be, it's just weird as a black woman and like a woman who single mom and all of that. They may think you don't have control of your child, whatever people want to think in their mind, but it's deeper than that. They don't know your why. They don't know what your child is going through. So I don't feel it necessary to tell any and everyone that I meet what's going on with him. But I do what I need to do in those moments that he is having a tantrum or something like that to keep him calm and let him know that mommy has his back. That's all.
Okay, okay. Do you normally advocate this kind of? Do you spare your time to advocate in teaching people how the autism? Because as a social worker yourself, you know exactly how social worker mandate and how you doing your work in every time. How do you advocate issue about autism for the time being?
Yes, like it pretty much aligns with what I just kind of mentioned shortly ago. Any chance I get, I mean, as a person that loves people in general, as a person as a social worker, as a person as a mom who has a kid on the spectrum, I use every chance I get to educate people if they want to hear it, not forcing it down their neck. But if we're close knit and we're talking about something, I'm like, my baby boy is doing this behavior because such and such. And I find, to be honest, people are more understanding and supportive than most people would think. Maybe it's because it's my personality. I don't know. But overall, I use every second I can to be the voice because he can't speak up for himself. So it's my duty until he's older and he feels as though, mom, I don't need this one and that one knowing. Great. But for now, I have to speak on his behalf because, say, for instance, he don't hit kids. He don't. He's. I know on the spectrum, some people may hit. He doesn't. He's not a hitter. So any event that he was a child that hit others, I have to educate the parent to let them know. Wait, hold on. My child is not being a bully. He's not being mean. This is a part of a condition that we've been working on. To let them know. The more a person know about a diagnosis, I believe that society is much more understanding. So yeah, any chance I get, I'm educating people because again, it's my who I am at my core, my social work background, and I'm a mother to a child on the spectrum. So it goes hand in hand.
As a social worker, before and now you working at the human resources department. Give me a little bit about your past experience before you entering to the social worker, before you entering to the human resource department. What is your experience between as a social workers and taking care a child with autism? How do you compare responsibility yourself? Because as a single mother, I believe you have so many tasks with you to make sure your child is very secure and safe. But also you have another task as a social workers. Give me a brief in your mind, basically, these two tasks, which one is more huge in your terms?
Sir, I'll try to answer answer this best I can. Coming from the background before human resources, I was a behavior counselor working with severe mental illness. My job right before I entered into human resources was working with intellectual and developmental disabilities, which is where I found similarities with families that had autism with their kids. So my goal in that component was to ensure that they get the proper resources into these huge state waiver programs. So I was the pretty much case manager in those aspects to make sure that everything was completed on time, turned in so that they can get the services that their families need to thrive. The speech therapies, the occupational therapy, the at-home living services, things of that nature, which is a completely different from what I do now. I pretty much am work-life balance, the professional development specialist at a homeless agency. So all in all, I'm always servicing others and giving, but it's just different components. And you find that these people with my current role, yes, they have mental challenges, but they don't necessarily have autism, right? That role prior to this job that I'm at now was primarily dealing with intellectual disabilities. So I just believe throughout this career of mine, they all had their different roles. They're all different populations, but one thing remained the same. Advocacy, transforming lives, and empowering families is what I do. So I hope that answers things.
Okay, okay, madam. Um, According to the Institute of Health and Research here in America, not only in America, across entire globe, autism does not have a cure at the moment since it was founded because autism is a behavior issues of the child when child or she or he was born based on the genetic. I would like to ask you, if you don't mind, to give me some knowledge. Do you believe in the future there will be a treatment of the autism in terms of the medical research?
Yes, I believe there's definitely a possibility of the treatment. I believe that a lot of people are hungry to make impact in this area. Again, working with yourself, Dr. Annie's of the world, a huge support group of Tanzania, hearing so many people wanting to do the research, wanting to do the on the field work of working with families and understanding this thing. So definitely there may be something down the line. I don't know what. That's not my expertise, but I definitely know that there are people who is working tirelessly to understand autism, be it genetic, environmental, that that component. Just they're understanding more and more way compared to 40 years ago. So I remain hopeful for what human beings can do and make an impact in the world. So I can definitely say anything is possible.
I believe that also you have heard some other people from another country, they have autism child. How do you basically there'll be a difference in between every country, every society, and every nationality. Have you had any experience from other people who really have a child or the autism in another country? Do you share the experience of your child and their child and how this situation can be engaged with? Can you hear me, madam? I just ask you a question related to the autism from other people around the world. For example, we have an autism child in Tanzania, and they are struggling themselves to get a cure. And also, you have an autism child here in America. In terms of the services to undertake, and those issues are completely different. Do you have any experience from other people from other society that they share with you their difficulties they have to raise a child with autism?
Yes, I do. Basically, I mean, it's through the WhatsApp, meeting amazing Tanzanians. So I hear about their experiences, and I'd say things are similar. However, it's lack thereof of progressive services as far as speech therapy, occupational therapy. I hear that they can do much better in those areas for the kids.
Okay, you said that you hear some other people from Tanzania. They you share their experiences. They share experience with you. Let me move on to a subject of legal issues about the child that has autism. in terms, I know you're living in Texas, in the city of Austin. I believe there is a regulation to protect the child with the autism. Do you advocate laws how to protect the child of the autism as a mother yourself, as a social worker?
As stated, I'm always advocating. That's what I do naturally as a social worker, as a mother. And at my core, I can do better at becoming up to date on certain laws, but I'm always advocating to answer your question.
Join with any organization related to the autism in Texas or across in the US, and you participated in full and put your ideas and how to move forward and protect this kind of behavior of the child that with autism.
So I'm currently just still doing my research on groups out here in Austin. However, I wouldn't be surprised if I spearhead something out here to help families feel comfortable, whether it's other moms or just families in general, fathers and mothers. So I haven't seen anything that sparked what I'd like to join in Austin, but that doesn't mean that I don't have the capacity to invite people and have them to have a safe place. But for now, the only group that I have is the group I recently joined that Dr. Annie created for Tanzanians and people of the diaspora. So I'm grateful for that. That's a start.
Okay, but are you planning in the future to be global advocate with the autism? I understand that you are planning to relocate sometime in Tanzania, as far as I know. But the question is comes
Hey,
into: are you planning to be a global advocate with the autism? Because autism is a global issue. It's not only U.S. or Tanzania. It's a global issue, and some other country people don't know how to take care of these kids. Particularly in Tanzania, the autism has been associated with witchcraft, which is completely different in here in the U.S. Have you heard about that?
yes, sir. I have, which saddens me a bit, knowing that something that people don't have control of is considered witchcraft. However, I know that deep in that diaspora that people believe in that type of stuff. So my goal is to, yes, upon relocation, definitely continue the advocacy role, empowering, transforming, linking up with people that's already doing the work. There are great people I'm already in connect with. Just being of service best I can. So it's already starting small in the U.S. and I definitely see myself growing. And it's not about Danita. It's about helping families to lead better, helpful, healthy lives, especially since I'm doing it and I'll be on a journey with them. So it's a beautiful thing to know. Yes, once I relocate abroad, that I'll be doing the same type of work, but on a more grand scheme. And I look forward to it.
Let me ask you this question. I might be can be very private to answer for you, but I hope maybe you can be able to answer to me. I understand you are a single mother, and I understand that child has a father. How the father is incorporated with the child at the moment to raise along with you, because child always needs both parents. How do you feel about the other side, the father of the child, if he participated or not? How your reaction to raise yourself if the father does not
Yes,
participate?
yes, sir. All I can do is basically, as a divorced woman, is do the best I can as what I'm doing in my role. So, as far as what the father is doing, he definitely sees his son when he can, but that's not my focus. My focus is on being my baby boy's mother and doing the best job that I can with God's grace. So I can't focus on who's there and who's not doing. I can just only do my best.
Thank you very much. You do your best as a mother to look after your child with an autistic situation. Okay. Um, let me ask you some other task. Maybe you can give to me some information in your end. As a social workers yourself, I know now you are working in the human resources, but prior for that one, you're dealing with a social worker. You specialize social workers. You have a master education in social workers. What kind of challenge do you see uh, as a social worker, and what kind of challenge do you see as a mother with a child that has autistic?
In the social work world, just a year ago, I was with families who literally wanted to cry every day. They're giving their kids the best that they can do, yet the kids had severe behavior problems. So I saw it from that angle of how hard it can be, which let me know for myself when I really picked up the signs that, okay, I work with intellectual disabilities, and now I'm noticing the signs before official diagnosis that, okay, yes, my baby boy is great in many ways, but it's challenging. So seeing that before me, how those parents did their best with their children and from a financial standpoint and all kind of stuff, it still let me know that this journey will be hard. So I can say I thank my career for opening up my eyes, because maybe I will be typical within our culture of saying, oh, nothing is wrong with him. He'll progress. He'll get there.
Um, many of you now are listening to you talking about autism, and I know there are some people behind, they don't know about autism. Some family, they don't know. What is your final thought you can advise to the people that do not understanding autism in particularly, or incoming mother? They don't know about autism. They hear, oh, autism is a behavioral issues. What kind of advice you can give for those people who do not understand about autism across the United States and across the entire world?
Yes, sir. I'd say beware of the signs that may look different. Trust your intuition, especially if you're a mother. If things seem different and you know that you've been around children in your life that at certain ages and stages they were behaving a certain way, and you're like, something is different with my child, don't doubt that feeling. Also, please, I advise, don't wait for the wait and see method that most pediatricians recommend. They mean no harm, but the longer you wait, your child will miss out on early intervention. As stated, I had to go to my child's pediatrician twice, but I was already on the road of having doors open for early intervention. Do the research, mourn the life that you wanted to have, perhaps if that's what you feel you need to do. That doesn't mean that hope is lost because you have a child on autism on a spectrum. These kiddos are brilliant, be it nonverbal or verbal. Be proud of the journey. Be proud of the gift that you have in your child. Never give up. Always advocate. You are their voice. And I just say give yourself grace and know that it comes across all socioeconomic statuses. You never know if you're going to be. You could do it so-called everything right, but if your child is the one who's chosen to be on the spectrum, love that child. That child is amazing, and they're going to continue to do great things. So I don't see it as a woe is me, a scary ordeal for me. That's my baby boy. He's amazing, and I know that he has a bright future. And so does so many other parents out there. So that's all I have to say. Don't miss the signs. Trust your intuition, and always be your child's advocate.
Thank you very much, madam. Being your
You're
child,
welcome.
love your child, understand your child is a bright future for the life. It's not
That's
issue
right.
related to the autism that the child cannot have a future. Love your child, being harmony, understanding autism is a genetic issues, but it's not an issue to isolate the child. That's very good advice. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Madam Danita, for joining with me here at Kidori Podcast. It was very delighted
Thank
and very
you.
humble to be with me here, and I would like to welcome you again through my program. We have so many to discuss about the autism. I hope maybe we can arrange some other episode for the second interview. But it was my pleasure, and then thank you very much for joining with me now here in Bellevue while you are in Austin, Texas. Thank you very much for your all information and the insight about autism in your life. Thank you. Hopefully, we will meet again and discuss some other area of the autism disorder. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great one. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Thank you
Asante
very much.
sana.
It's my pleasure to be with you here at the Kidori Post, and you are welcome again to join with me. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.